Sword Health, which provides physical therapy powered by artificial intelligence, raising a new round of funding led by Khosla Ventures. Joining us right now, first on CNBC Sword Health founder and CEO, Virgilio Bento. Also, Vinod Khosla, former, or I should say, it's not former anything, founder of Khosla Ventures, a legend who's invested in Sword Health since the beginning and a legend in Silicon Valley. And we're thrilled to have both of you here. Vinod, I'm going to start with you, which is just go back in time and tell us how you found this company and what makes you excited about it. The idea of physical therapy and AI, it sounds like it doesn't go together because you'd think to yourself, physical therapy needs somebody physically with you, and AI seems like a computer. But you're doing something different here.
Yeah, well, we got a cold email from Virgilio in 2019, a Portuguese PhD based in Portugal, with a very large vision to change healthcare. One of the largest spends in healthcare is musculoskeletal spend. So that fit our ethos of very early, bold bets in a very large area that would be really impactful. So that's how we met, through a cold email. It's now become one of the fastest growing companies in healthcare I've seen, gone from about 2 million run rate about late 2020, 3.5 years ago, to about 200 million now run rate. So I'm very excited about what Virgilio has done. He's a little underrated for the attention because he's based in Portugal, but I do think they're one of the most exciting companies in digital health and using AI to deliver digital health very accessibly and rapidly and well.
Right. So, Virgilio, for those uninitiated, explain what Sword does.
So basically, what we've been doing is using AI alongside human clinicians to allow patients to recover at home. Either we started with physical pain, then we expanded to pelvic health, now we are expanding to other areas of care. But basically, we allow patients to recover independently at home with our AI technology. We call it Phoenix. Patients can recover at 7 a.m. In their pajamas after breakfast. And we make sure that everything that they are doing, we always have the human clinician in the loop, providing the human touch, but also in an elevated way, so they are highly skilled.
So in terms of how this works, one of the things that people have talked about when it comes to healthcare and AI for a very long time is liability, frankly, because they've always thought, you know, is AI going to hallucinate? Is it going to instruct somebody to do the wrong thing? How do you address those concerns?
So basically, that's why we believe that in our AI care model, it's not just the AI, it's the AI and the human, right? And the human is there to act and do the checks and balances of what the AI system is doing. So independently at home, the patient doing the session with our AI system, the AI provides feedback in line with what was defined by the clinician, changes the program in line with what was defined by the clinician. And so every single thing that the AI does in healthcare, either it's pre-approved or post-approved by the human clinician always. And so that's why we make sure that everything that is being executed is always in line with what the human clinician defined.
Vinod, you were an early investor in OpenAI and all sorts of forms of AI. You know, we've been having a big debate on the broadcast now for maybe several months about who the winners in AI are going to be. It's clearly the chip makers in terms of processing power, but increasingly the question is within the software world, and maybe this is one of those examples of a potential winner. How do you see both large language models, smaller models, productized versions of AI like this in your portfolio?
Well, there will be more than one large language model and lots of small models, but hundreds and if not thousands of applications like Sword Health. So what we've done is a classic example of an area you don't think of, but its economics is hugely impacted, and you couldn't deliver this kind of therapy with really robust margins without AI. And that's what Sword Health has done, and it's a stunning example in an area people don't expect.
Vinod, while I have you here, just because we're talking AI, and I'm so curious what you think's going on in the Valley. When you think, though, about the big winners in the model world, how do you see it today? How do you sort of stack rank the quality of what ChatGPT looks like today versus what you think Google and Gemini are doing versus, Anthropic, what you may see out of AWS eventually? I mean, how do you sort of look at all of these different players?
No question, OpenAI has established a good lead. They're ahead of the pack for sure, very quickly, and they're executing extremely well. I'm also pretty certain Google will do well, as will Anthropic. There will be more than one model in the West, and there'll be regional models in other parts of the world.
Where do you think Apple's going to land in all this?
It's all about execution and talent, and a couple of companies have all of those. Many of those hyped valuations will decline and go away, in my view, but the winners will be very large winners. More money will be lost. Most companies will lose money, but more money will be made than lost by a lot.
Vinod, let me ask you, since you are an investor, early investor in OpenAI, there have been a whole series of articles about Sam Altman, and just recently the Wall Street Journal had a piece yesterday about his investments in so many other businesses, where he gets most of his wealth. He doesn't have equity in OpenAI itself, which is unique. There's been lots of criticism about these outside investments. The truth is, I don't understand it personally. I actually think he's doing remarkable things and probably should have been paid at OpenAI itself. But I'm curious, as an investor, what you think.
Well, the press likes to take knocks at Sam, to be honest. If he takes a lot of risk with a lot of money on fusion and brings it to the planet, I'm all for it, even though we are in a competitive effort in fusion. So I think he's doing a lot of good things for the world in bringing things like fusion to us, or at least attempting it. And he's been in the Valley ecosystem. I know hardly anyone in the ecosystem who doesn't make lots of investment. In fact, it's a shame he's had to be a little more restrictive on himself because he is a really good investor.
And then separately, the other thing I wanted to ask you about, given that we have an opportunity to talk to you and it's so rare, is to talk about politics in Silicon Valley. You've been a supporter of President Biden. I'm in Washington, D.C. this morning at the CNBC CEO Council Summit. What is your sense of the shifting winds in the Valley around politics? I think for a very long time, the Valley was seen as sort of a liberal bastion. But, if you listen to Elon Musk or you listen to All In podcast and that gang and others, it seems to be shifting potentially towards former President Trump. Is that just a small pocket, or do you think that that's a real shift in terms of the way the Valley's thinking politically?
The first thing I would say is All In podcast and some of the supporters there are not based in the Valley. I would say there's a bunch of MAGA extremists in every part of society, and I hope we can prevent them from destroying democracy, which is probably the most important issue we face. So
how do you explain what's happening? And I'm thinking of, and it's true, Elon Musk is now in Texas, and Peter Thiel is, I think it left California. But what do you see happening in terms of just the thinking? You must have conversations with a lot of folks in this space.
There's clearly concerns with the extreme left and the extreme right. I have those concerns. Many, like myself, are actually registered independents. And they want to be in the middle and be let alone to innovate. So I do see the frustration on the right, and I see the frustration on the left. But I think most people I know of are more focused on the morals and values of a guy like Trump. Like, would you want your kids to grow up with those values that Trump has and demonstrates?